Well, hey everybody, John Rethlin here, and this is Rapid Fire episode 86. Yep, it's been a couple months since I've done one of these. Actually, just right after WrestleMania 35, I talked about the fallout and a few other things and everything. So that was nearly 3 months ago. Where does the time go? Well, soon we're all going to be in a grave 6 feet under. You know, I probably should start writing down these intros, so maybe I don't say so much stuff that's on my mind like that, but, it's part of the fun. And, well, you wouldn't tune in if you didn't want honesty, for good and bad. But anyway, before we all end up in a grave 6 feet under, let's watch the show and let's enjoy wrestling for what it is. And that's what a lot of these topics are going to be pertaining to. I'm going to be talking about AEW's Fight for the Fallen and the Evolve promotion running head to head. And I'm going to talk about a couple other things, stuff they're doing with the women, stuff they're not doing with the women, and a couple other topics, and I'll kind of tie all this stuff together. So if you're unfamiliar with the rapid fire format, I just give a few minutes to every single subject, give my opinions, throw in a couple rants if needed, and then move on. It's almost like hashtag ask for honesty, except this one is less questions that have been asked and more shit that's just on my mind. And by the way, thank you guys for making hashtag ask for honesty super popular. So anyway, let's get on with this and we'll just see how long it goes. Could go 15 minutes, could go 30 minutes. We will see. So we're going to start off with AEW's Fight for the Fallen, going head to head with Evolve's 10th anniversary show that's going to be shown on the WWE network. Now, the Evolve promotion is working with WWE. Kind of like a bit of a, I guess, feeder system or whatever to NXT, and then NXT talents also appear on Evolve. And whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to fault that. If other promotions want to work with WWE and it works out for them, that's fine. That's totally fine. I watched a little bit of Evolve. I was impressed with it. And it is what it is. Now, AEW's Fight for the Fallen is a show where a portion of the proceeds, I don't know how much, because it's none of my business to know that, a portion of the proceeds, or most of the proceeds, are going to go to the victims of gun violence that's going to be taking place in the Jacksonville area. And that's a really nice move by Tony Khan, Cody, the Bucks, everybody involved in AEW. That's absolutely great. I don't know what the card is, besides I think Dustin and Cody versus the Young Bucks, if I'm right. And I'm sure there's a couple others. But the whole point is that show was established a couple months ago. And then Evolve has their 10th anniversary show. And obviously this had been planned for a while as well. But it's kind of funny that WWE suddenly decides, oh, geez, this event's happening. Let's put an event from another promotion on our network at the same time. Now, I do want to also say that healthy competition is good, and I certainly have no issue with it. People, when AEW popped up, they wanted it to be competition in WWE. This is how you create competition. You have shows go head to head. Now, can it be seen as petty by WWE to do something like this? I mean, WWE has never been petty before. They never fired somebody on their wedding day. Oh, wait, they fucking did. And they did petty stuff like when TNA moved to, when it was TNA, now Impact Wrestling, moved to Monday nights, they suddenly decide, hey, we're going to bring Bret Hart back and have him appear on Raw for the first time in just about over 12 years. I mean, that wasn't a coincidence. That wasn't anything but a coincidence, actually. It was just fine. It was fine. It wasn't petty at all. Let me make this clear. Pissing contests and competition stuff and barbs thrown at different companies over the years happened in the territory days, happened in the cable days, happened in Monday Night Wars. It's happened ever since. It will continue to happen. I have no issue with that. If people want a competition, this is how you get it. There is nothing wrong with that. Do I see people being upset at WWE for it? Sure. Kenny Omega said something in a deleted tweet, kind of targeting WWE. And, I guess the Saudi blood money wasn't enough or something like that. I don't remember the exact wording, but he was upset. I'm not knocking Kenny Omega. Now, you're not Kenny Omega on that. I don't blame him for being upset. But, again, if you're going to take shots at WWE, not Omega, but just AEW in general, this is kind of the bite back you're going to get. It's old saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Don't fucking know what that means. Never know what that means, but it sounds cool. So I get why fans are upset. You guys do know that streaming options exist, right? Now, had this been happening in the days of pay-per-view and you had to choose between them, okay, sure, I totally understand. WWE has their own network. Fight for the Fallen, I assume, is going to be on Bleacher Report Live. It seems like AEW has their pay-per-views going through them, and that's totally fine. I don't know what Fight for the Fallen is going to cost, and I'm willing to pay for it. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, but the whole reason that people are upset is, it's oh, WWE is just scared of AEW and this kind of stuff or whatever. Or then there are the people who are like, well, they shouldn't be scared of AEW. They were there first. Yes, Evolve probably had their 10th anniversary show planned for a while, and is what it is. Evolve and WWE have a co-promotion going on. AEW has, they have talents they're using from other people as well, especially until their TV deal kicks in a little bit later. I have no issue with this. Outside of a little bit, it is a little petty by WWE. It is a little bit of a coincidence that after having a working relationship with Evolve and other promotions, ICW and a few others, I'm sure, in the UK, and Evolve's obviously in the US, that they suddenly picked this day to run this show. Now, it could just be a horrible coincidence. Fans could be reading too much into it, just like myself. And I am a fan, not a wrestler, not a wrestling reporter. Obviously not a wrestler, but not a wrestling reporter or a journalist or anything like that. No inside sources, just a wrestling fan observing shit. I always clarify that sometimes a couple times in the video, because sometimes people think, oh, you're trying to act like you're a know-it-all. No, I just watched wrestling for 34 years and counting. You observe some shit, eventually you kind of know some stuff. I don't blame fans for being upset. But I think that we need to realize that competition is going to happen. And it's like the thing that Cody did with, destroying the throne, with the sledgehammer at Double or Nothing. I didn't like it, and I could see why people picked on it, and I could see why people loved it. There's going to be the AEW fans and WWE fans, and there needs to stop being this pissing contest between them. In fact, I might turn a whole goddamn video into that, not just necessarily this, but there needs to stop being a pissing contest between these fans and realize that you can like multiple promotions, just so you know. You can watch one live and you can watch another later. You can watch both live and freaking destroy your eyeballs because you got one eye on here and one eye on here. Basically the Linda McMahon syndrome. That was mean. Or the Shawn Michaels syndrome. Shawn Michaels, who of course is always keeping one eye on the prize and one eye on the NXT talents. I don't think that it's that big of a deal. I get why some fans are upset, but I think some are getting a little too upset. You want a competition, this is how you're going to fucking get it. That's basically it. Which one will I watch? Probably Fight for the Fallen. I will probably watch the Evolve show later. But which one are you guys going to watch? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And now we get to another thing about shows going head-to-head. New Japan's Royal Quest, which is taking place in the UK. Well, and this was reported a while ago because NXT decided, or WWE's decided to announce an NXT UK takeover in Cardiff, which I guess there's a big old football match, well, soccer in the States, but big old football match going on in Cardiff that weekend. So they're not getting a whole bunch of really great ticket sales. Well, also, they thought the New Japan wasn't selling all that well, so they decided to run a takeover that same day. But New Japan was selling to two different box offices. So they sold quite a few tickets. NXT TakeOver UK, I don't know how it's doing. I can't imagine it's doing that well. I have not heard anything else about it, so I don't know if they decided to move the date or not. If they still run head-to-head, they are going to be freaking smashed. More people, I think, are going to watch Royal Quest. If I have to pick between Royal Quest and TakeOver Cardiff, I'm going to watch Royal Quest. Sorry, I'm going to pick that. But this goes back to the whole thing of you want a competition, you want options, pick your options. Take what you want. Have fun. You once again can like more promotions than just one. There isn't anything wrong with that. Enjoy what you watch. Love what you watch. Support multiple companies, support multiple talents, and just have a whole lot of fun with it. That's really all you need to do. And then there are people like, oh, well, those events are on the same day as All Out. The UK events are taking place like, I don't know, 11 a.m. or noon. I'm not exactly sure because, the whole time difference and everything. All Out is taking place in Chicago, which will be taking place later in the day. I don't think it's that big of a goddamn deal if you got 3 events in one day. This is where some healthy competition and healthy promotion, healthy promotion wars can actually benefit everybody. More companies succeeding means more talents can get more money. So, it's a bad move on WWE's part. They need to realize it's a really bad fucking idea to run a UK takeover right there. I would put it a week before. Just do it a week before or a week after. Because while I enjoyed the UK takeover in January, I'm starting to think the UK takeover or the UK takeover format isn't the best idea. As good as it was, I don't think that the UK brand can support its own takeover. I just don't think it can. And I think they're going to have to just start implementing them into the NXT brand, and just maybe make takeovers like an hour longer, which I know is a bit of a sticking point, but that might be something they have to do. The whole point is with these first two stories is, guys, competition is key. Competition is great. It is a great time to be a wrestling fan. Is it as hot as it ever was? No, but you have options to stream it and have fun and everything. So please just deal with it. Have fun. You can hate one company for running a show against another if you want, or you could be smart and realize that, hey, damn it, oh, you're going to run against a company I want to support. Well, damn it, I'm going to support the company I really love, and I'm going to encourage other people to do it. That's fine. But don't hate don't hate other people, by the way, if they want to watch something otherwise. If you have a friend that wants to watch the Evolve 10th anniversary show as opposed to Fight for the Fallen, don't hate on them. If you have somebody that wants to watch New Japan Royal Quest, but you want to watch UK TakeOver, don't fault them. You all can watch all out later, or you can watch nothing. You could go outside and play. You could do a whole bunch of other stuff. The whole point is competition. Healthy competition is supposed to be fun. And that's really what it is. That's really what it comes down to. So that's where I'm going to leave off on those things. Healthy competition, just have fun and enjoy the stuff. Please. Please enjoy that. Now, I'm going to talk about something that I'm going to bring right to a screeching halt here. And then I'm going to finish up about the women. But I'm going to address something that Jim Cornette addressed on his podcast. Video, or what rather audio leaked out of a Smoky Mountain Wrestling show from, I want to say, 1994. And Jim recounted an incident that took place. And basically, you can hear him recount the whole event if you would like. I encourage you guys to do so. But to paraphrase it, a racial slur was used towards a black man, in his words, the heat of the moment. And it was not it was not good in general. It was not. It's never good to use that word. I've used that word in the past. I mean, way in the past, still doesn't excuse it. But it's not a good thing to use. And there were people that dumped on him. Okay, 1994, we're going to hammer on Hogan for what he said. If we're going to hammer on so many other people for what they said in the past, I understood why people hammered on Jim Cornette. And I don't blame him. I am a card-carrying member of the Cult of Cornette, but what he did there was unforgivable unless he held some accountability, or all the accountability. And that's what he did in his podcast. Now, I'm not saying it excuses it. It doesn't. And even he said it didn't excuse it. But that in 25 years, he evolved, other people evolved, and realized that that word has no place in society. And that even if you're angry at somebody, using a hateful word, using any kind of hateful words like that, puts a blanket statement on everybody that falls under that race or that or a category or whatever of people. It's not a good thing to do. So I 100% agree that it was terrible for him to say, but he owned up to it and he made sure to take accountability for it. Does that excuse what he said? Absolutely not. It doesn't. It's the same thing with Hogan, same thing with so many other people. It does not excuse the usage of the word. At least he owned up to it. And you can hate on him for that. You can still hate him for it. But I give him credit for facing it head on and admitting he was wrong and evolving since then. I don't agree with everything Jim Cornette says as far as his views on modern wrestling. I think sometimes he goes a little overboard, then he goes a lot overboard. I don't think that anybody should be boiled in oil and their fat sold for soap. But he believes that it is what it is. It's going to alienate him for some people. It's going to make some people go to. It's going to make some people go towards him. The racial comments, the use of that racial slur, which I will not say here. You know what it is. It's a black slur. I will not say that. If I see anybody saying it in the goddamn comments, you're banned. I'm saying that right now. I can say a lot of controversial shit. I can say a lot of shit. I've gotten in trouble for stuff I've said on my Twitter. That word has no place here. Has no place in society. Along with a lot of other words. Right back here, the pride shirt. The LGBTQ, community. They're adults and they need to be treated with respect. Do not hate them because they they have a different sexuality. They are who they are. Unless somebody is harming children, that kind of stuff, then you can, you know, then all bets are off and stuff like that. But that's going off on a bit of a tangent. The bottom line is I get why people do not like Jim Cornette. I am not saying that I am in full support of everything he says. And I am glad he addressed that. And there we go. So yeah, that is where I'm going to leave that particular thing off. Now I'm going to get into something that also has to do with the LGBTQ community. And that is what they alluded to on SmackDown with Sonya and Mandy. So you had Sonya beat Ember Moon in like 100, like minute 20 seconds, 2 minutes. It was fucking ridiculous. Excuse me, allergies. It was fucking ridiculous. It was absolutely fucking stupid. I get why maybe they felt they were pressed for time or whatever, but these women could have killed it in at least a 7-8 minute match. They need to go back to having brand exclusive pay-per-views so we can get, some more parity here. And who knows, maybe this whole creative direction, this new direction with Heyman and Bischoff, being executive creative directors, whatever the fuck that means. Maybe that can lead to an actual brand split, elimination of the wildcard rule, and a whole bunch of stuff. And we could get matches like Sonya versus Ember in an 8 to 10 minute classic. Or at least something on a SmackDown exclusive show, and people could say, hey, these two women can really fucking wrestle. But back to what they were doing with Sonya and Mandy. One, I want to say right now, Mandy proved me wrong as far as how good she can be. I don't know if she's as good as some people say she is, but again, that is my perception. I am not saying that other people are wrong. Quite the contrary. They can see things in her that I don't. And that doesn't mean that I'm more right or they're more right or whatever. It's how we see things. Sonya, I feel, the first time I saw her when she was going under her real name, Daria, I said, that's the future right there. That is the future. It's going to take time, but that's the future. I feel that Sonya can be and should be used a ton better than she is. Now, you can't fit everybody on TV, and I totally understand that, but with Sonya, they had her beat Ember. I just see Sonya as a big star. That's me. Maybe I'm just being biased. I don't know. But they had Sonya and Ember have that match. It was pointless, especially for the backstage stuff that they've been doing for a few weeks. It'll probably lead to something, but who knows? And then they had the camera shot linger on Sonya and Mandy. And Sonya and Mandy are real life friends. They have like a YouTube show where they try donuts and stuff like that. And cool. Is what it is. They're obviously real life friends. They obviously are very good friends. And that's great. Honestly, it is. It's hard to find true friends, especially in that line of work, when everybody's constantly traveling. So if they get along with each other, that's absolutely great. So camera focuses on them on SmackDown. I'm kind of laying a whole backstory here. They, with the camera on them, it seemed like they had Sonya and Mandy stare at each other. And then Mandy kind of brushes her hair back, not brushes Mandy's hair a little bit, or kind of plays with her hair a little bit. And I'm like, and I saw that I go, I want to make it clear that I have no issue with them including an LGBTQ romance angle. I think that actually is something that's been long overdue in WWE. They didn't do it with Darren Young. That would have been uncomfortable, mainly because I just implied a human centipede thing. I always try to include one human centipede joke in my videos. Have you been able to tell? Moving on. It was great that Darren Young was, openly gay athlete. And it was fantastic. Besides Pat Patterson, even though we all knew for years before he came out. But they never did anything with Darren Young. Now they got a chance with Sonya. If they do this right, it could actually work. I believe Noah, shout out to Noah is safe on Twitter. He suggested that, it's like, what do you think about this idea of Mandy ended up using Sonya, gets the title, uses her, and, makes Sonya fall for her, and then, basically it ends up turning Sonya babyface because Sonya feels used, goes after Mandy, that kind of stuff. And it was in a discussion. And it was a great question on hashtag Ask for Honesty. I want to say it was episode 18. I did 3 in about a 24, 36 hour period, so you'll forgive me. But the whole point is what do I think of that? I think that it could work, and Sonya could be a very good babyface. I think she really could. Mandy, I think, is born to play a heel. I'm not saying she can't. I'm not saying she's not likable. But as far as her on-screen persona, I think she is built to be a heel. Sonya could be a babyface, And this whole love struck thing has been done before with people being, used in this kind of stuff to, for a heel or whoever to gain an advantage. And it's very obvious that this person has been using them for the whole time. And then you have an angle and hopefully a good blow off. And then the babyface comes out better on the other side after being used. The problem is the WWE does not do romance angles very well, and I'm afraid they're going to use the subtlety about as well as a a sledgehammer to a plate full of sperm. And I don't know why I use that analogy, but the whole point is it just fit. The thing is I really hope that it does work. I want to see more LGBTQ storylines done with the right amount of subtlety, but also care. Everybody should be equal. LGBTQ, straight, doesn't matter. Equal. Human beings. Unless you're a pedophile, then you're a fucking piece of shit and you deserve to rot. But LGBTQ, straight, you deserve to be treated like human beings. You do. And anybody in that 5-letter spectrum, five-letter, community, deserves to be treated with respect. LBGT, especially the T. That's why Nyla Rose is, should get more respect for what she's doing in AEW, but also Q. Whole point. If they can handle this storyline well and do it right and everything, and they don't bungle it like they did with the whole Mandy, Mandy Naomi thing, then okay. I think it could work. I'm just worried it won't, and I'm worried Mandy's just going to beat Sonya, and then Sonya's going to be left humiliated and everything. And it's not going to ultimately benefit either of them. It's going to make Sonya seem like a bully, and it's going to make Mandy, it's going to make Mandy seem like a bully, and Sonya seem like a goddamn idiot. Now, I hope it works out. I am all for it. If this can also lead to other LGBTQ athletes incorporating what they do into wrestling and everything, incorporating more of their real life persona into wrestling, into the indies or whatever company they're part of, great. If WWE can put that on a national, worldwide broadcast and show that it is okay for that, despite the fact they're taking Saudi blood money and they got a whole bunch of other shit that they're doing, but moving on from that, and that the McMahon family supports Trump. The whole point is if the athletes can see how well this works and, hey, we can maybe get some more input, great. If fans that are members of the LGBTQ community, I really need to find a different thing to say, because I've said that a lot. If fans that are in that community can say, hey, wait a second, they can do it, I can do it, maybe I can do some great things, and not let society just, put me in a bubble and this kind of stuff just because I was born this way, then that would be great. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we will see. I'm for it, but I'm cautious. I hope it does work out. We'll see how it plays out on TV. They could totally drop the thing. This could all end up being just absolutely ridiculous, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Now, I'm going to finish off, though, with them needing to utilize the women better. Now, I've done rants. I've done probably about, I'd say, at least 2 to 3 rants this year about the women's division needing to be utilized better. The bottom line is from NXT's doing better than I thought, even though they need to get the title off Shayna like quick. Get it off her by SummerSlam weekend, so that would be TakeOver Toronto. Get it off her by then, call her up, and utilize some other women that they got in NXT. They need to take women that aren't being used all that well. They want to put Natty in NXT. If Alicia Fox is doing better, I don't know what's happened. I haven't seen Alicia Fox in a couple months. Put her in NXT. Utilize some women that are veterans that have been in the company for a while to bring along others who may have plenty of experience themselves, but not to the WWE or NXT audience, whatever, and do that and make sure that those women are brought along and that you utilize all your roster correctly. Because unfortunately, Raw and SmackDown seem to be focusing on the same few. Now, the stuff they're doing with Sonya and Mandy could be a positive. And Ember, if Ember actually ends up doing something good, they aren't using Asuka and Kairi much at all. The Iconics are basically beating the powder. And, Raw, they're focusing just on Lacey and Becky, who are both good. I'm not saying that. But Dana's, maybe Dana's building back up and everything seems to be doing pretty well. But they have other women they could be using. Liv, they could be using Liv pretty well. Sarah Logan, they could be using Sarah Logan on Raw. But Liv they could be using on SmackDown. They haven't been. They just need to utilize their women better, because if they don't, it's going to get stagnant, and that's not what they need to be. I said it in a recent Real Honest rant, the most recent one that I did. Forget what part of the video it was, but that the women's division across NXT, NXT UK, Raw, SmackDown can be what the cruiserweights were for WCW. It can set them apart from other promotions. Yes, other promotions have their women's division. Ring of Honor, it's Kelly Klein and Mandy Leon and a few scrubs, and then of course or not even a few scrubs, just a few people I'm not familiar with, but the scrubs are Angelina Love and Velvet. I'm going to take a shot at them because they're both fucking idiots and shouldn't be wrestling in 2019. But they have their women's division. You know, AEW's got their women's divisions rising up. You got Shine, Shimmer, Stardom, a whole bunch of others. Joshi Pro Wrestling. I always have to say it like that because otherwise I say Joshi Pro Wrestling. And I probably still pronounce it wrong, but there's plenty of women wrestling all over the goddamn world that are doing some great things, and WWE has the biggest platform, and they need to utilize women better, because otherwise all the women are going there for is just to be paid, which is the whole point of wrestling. You do it because you love it, but also because you want to earn money. And I mean in that order, because you could do it for the money, but if you don't love it, it's gonna eventually come through, and you're gonna be Lex Luger. But anyway, they just need to utilize their women better, and that's really where I want to leave off this rapid fire. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave in the comments what you guys thought, and understand these are just my opinions. I'm not saying that if you guys have any other views that you're wrong. Not at all. I would love to have a discussion with you guys either in the comments or find me on Twitter. I always put my Twitter handle in the description. But anyway, like, share, subscribe, and I'm John Ritlin. I will see you soon.